My family mocked me for being broke, not knowing I was paying their bills the whole time. "You'll always be a worthless nobody," my aunt snickered, raising her glass as they toasted behind my back. I stayed quiet. Until this morning. I never thought I'd be writing something like this, but after what happened at our family dinner yesterday, I need to get this off my chest. Fair warning, this might be long, but I promise it's worth the read. Some background: I'm Lucas, 29M. 5 years ago, I lost both my parents in a car accident. They left behind a modest house, some savings, and a trust fund they set up specifically to help support the family if anything ever happened to them. I've been managing that trust ever since. My Aunt Karen, 52F, Uncle Kevin, 54M, and my cousins Brock, 27M, and Marcos, 25M, don't know the full picture. They think the help they've been getting is from some government assistance program for survivors. In truth, it's me. I've been quietly paying their bills for years, making sure they didn't lose the house, the cars, the lifestyle. I never asked for thanks. I just did what I thought my parents would have wanted. But the disrespect? That I never expected. Yesterday's dinner. It was supposed to be a regular Sunday dinner at Aunt Karen's house. Everyone was gathered around the dining table, which, by the way, my parents had bought for them years ago. I brought a homemade lasagna using my mom's old recipe. As I walked in, I overheard Aunt Karen talking to Marcos about his new AirPods Pro. "At least someone in this family knows how to treat themselves," she said, throwing a smug look my way. I ignored it. I always do. I drive a 2012 Toyota, live in a modest apartment, and dress simply, not because I'm broke, but because I've learned the value of money. What they don't know is that I'm financially stable, more than stable. But I've been funneling most of the trust's support to them, including covering 70% of their mortgage. Dinner went on. Uncle Kevin bragged about his new golf club membership, yep, also paid through the trust, and Brock flaunted his latest smartwatch. Then came the moment that broke me. "Lucas, honey," Aunt Karen said in that fake sweet voice, "don't you think it's time you got yourself a better car? I mean, that old thing of yours. What will people think? Your father always knew how to present himself." I stayed quiet, chewing my lasagna. Funny, the same one she praised earlier, not realizing it was homemade because she assumed I couldn't afford good food. Then Marcos added with a condescending smirk, "Not everyone can afford nice things, Mom. Lucas is doing his best." This, coming from the guy whose car payments I have been covering for 3 years. Then came the kicker. They started talking about their upcoming family vacation to Florida, a trip they never invited me to. I sat there, silently eating, knowing full well the $4,800 credit card charge for the trip had gone to the family card I pay off every month. "We need this getaway," Uncle Kevin said, raising his glass. "Some of us work hard enough to deserve nice things." They all laughed and toasted. At me. Then Aunt Karen said, "You know, Lucas, you'll always be a worthless nobody, like your father was before he got lucky in his career. At least he figured it out eventually. You? I'm not so sure." The room went dead quiet. Even my cousins looked uncomfortable, but no one defended me. My father, their brother, was not lucky. He worked his ass off to build everything from the ground up. He was smart, disciplined, and generous, and he taught me everything I know about money and family responsibility. I stood up calmly, cleared my plate, and said I had work in the morning. As I left, I heard them laughing again. "Maybe we should start a GoFundMe for poor Lucas," Aunt Karen's voice rang through the hallway. What they didn't see me stop in the hallway. They didn't see me pull out my phone and open my banking app. They didn't see me text my financial advisor at 8:01 a.m. this morning, but they're about to feel it. I've been patient for 5 years, quietly supporting their lives while they laughed at my poverty. But something in me snapped yesterday, not in anger, in clarity. This morning, I started making the calls, freezing the trust, cutting off every automatic payment, notifying the bank and credit card company. Everything's in motion. They have no idea what's coming. Update 1. The breakdown. Thank you all for the overwhelming support. I wasn't expecting such a response, but I'm grateful for it. Let me give you a clear picture of just how deep this situation goes. After the dinner, I spent the next morning going through every single transaction and expense from the trust. I knew the numbers, but seeing them all laid out after being called a worthless nobody just hit different. Here's what my broke lifestyle has been funding. Their 4-bedroom house, $2,200 monthly mortgage. I cover 70%, $1,540 per month. Uncle Kevin's golf club membership, $250 a month. He calls it business networking. The man doesn't even have a business. Cousin Brock's 2020 Jeep, $485 month. Cousin Marcos's 2021 Honda, $425 month. Their Florida vacation, $4,800 charged to the family credit card, the one I pay off. Then I saw this on Instagram. Aunt Karen posted, "Some people know how to live life right. Blessed Masak family vacation." In the comments, Marcos, "Can't wait. Too bad Cousin Lucas can't afford to join us." Aunt Karen, "Some people just don't know how to manage money, honey." Brock, "Maybe he should learn to invest like Dad." That was it. That was the last straw. I've stopped every single payment. The trust is now locked under review. Within 30 days, they'll receive letters from the bank, the credit card company, and the trust attorney, clarifying that all financial support has ended. They'll learn what it means to manage money. They'll learn who the real, worthless nobody is. And for the first time in 5 years, I finally feel at peace. After the last post, things escalated quickly. I had to drop off some documents at Aunt Karen and Uncle Kevin's house. Nobody was home, but I have a key. After all, I'm still listed as the emergency contact. That's how much they value me. I was just going to leave the documents in Uncle Kevin's study when I noticed something on his desk. Printed emails. Curiosity got the better of me. What I read next had me sitting in my car for a full hour afterward. Not sad, just completely done. They were planning a big Labor Day barbecue. Everyone from the neighborhood is invited. Everyone except me. Here's a snippet from the email chain. Karen, "We can't have Lucas there. His old car and cheap clothes will embarrass us in front of the Johnsons." Kevin, "Agreed. Tell him we're keeping it small this year." Brock, "Dad, that's kind of harsh." Kevin, "Life's harsh. He needs to learn to do better for himself." Next to that thread, a quote for a $155,000 kitchen renovation. Guess who they were planning to quietly fund it through? Yep, me, again. That was the final straw. The numbers. I sat in my car and made some calls. Then I spent the next 2 hours with my financial advisor going over every transaction tied to the trust over the past 5 years. I knew it was bad. I didn't know it was this bad. Here's what my so-called broke lifestyle has been quietly funding. House payments, $92,400 car payments, $43,150 credit card bills, $68,000 emergency expenses, $31,200 utilities, subscriptions, phone bills, etc. $29,450 total, $264,800, $264,000. While they mocked my clothes, my car, my bad money management, I was living in a $1,200 apartment, driving a paid-off Toyota, skipping vacations to keep them comfortable, and then, as if the universe wanted to drive it home, I got a text from Marcos that night. "Hey, cuz, hate to ask, but could you spot me $50 for gas? Tight until payday. I know things are rough for you, but maybe you have a little spare?" This, from the same Marcos who posted an Instagram story just 2 hours earlier showing off his new $400 gaming headset. I didn't reply. Instead, I made some more calls. Cutting off a trust isn't as simple as flipping a switch, but there are legal and documented ways. And I was ready. 5 years of receipts, 5 years of records. My parents taught me well, even if Karen thinks they just got lucky. The next day, I officially began Phase 1. Final family dinner. A few days later, I got a call from Aunt Karen. "Lucas, honey, we need to talk. Please come to dinner." I knew what it was. I could smell the manipulation a mile away. But I went. Not for them. For closure. I showed up at 6 p.m. sharp. First thing I noticed? Workers installing brand. New granite countertops. Remember the $155K kitchen renovation? Looks like they decided to get a head start with money they thought was coming from me. "Lucas," Aunt Karen beamed. "Don't mind the mess. We're just upgrading a bit. You know how it is. Well, maybe you don't." I nodded, walked in. Everyone was dressed like it was a formal holiday. Brock was showing off. Another new smartwatch. Marcos kept sneaking glances at me with this strange mix of pity and smugness. Then Uncle Kevin pulled me aside. "Listen, sport. We need to have a serious talk about your future. Your attitude, it's bringing down the family's image." This, from a man wearing a golf club polo shirt I pay for. Dinner started. They'd ordered pricey takeout. Again, on the family credit card I'd been covering. I ate quietly. Then Aunt Karen cleared her throat and dropped the bomb. "Lucas, honey," she said, "we've been talking as a family, and we think it's best if you sit out the Labor Day barbecue. And maybe future gatherings, too. At least until you can, well, improve your situation." Brock looked uncomfortable. Marcos just kept eating. "The Johnsons are coming," Uncle Kevin added. "And their daughter just bought a house. We can't have you showing up in that car in those clothes. It reflects poorly on all of us." I took another bite of food. "Your constant reminder of your financial struggles is just bringing everyone down," Aunt Karen said. "Maybe if you'd listen to your uncle about investments." That's when I interrupted her. "Which investments would those be, Aunt Karen?" She faltered. "Well, Kevin? Tell him about your investments." "My golf club membership is full of networking opportunities," Uncle Kevin puffed. "That's how investing works." "Boy, you wouldn't understand." I smiled. For the first time that night, I actually smiled. I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app. Those networking opportunities wouldn't happen to be the ones I've been paying $250 a month for, would they? Dead silence. "What are you talking about?" Aunt Karen snapped. "Let's talk numbers," I said. "Want to start with the mortgage, the cars, or the credit cards?" Marcos laughed nervously. "What's he talking about, Mom?" "The house payments come from that government program," Aunt Karen said quickly. "After his parents, there is no government program," I said. "There never was. It's all been me. Through the trust my parents set up. Every single payment. Your house, your cars, your golf, your vacations, everything." "Uncle." Kevin stood up, face red. "Now you listen here." "No," I said. "You listen. For 5 years, I've been keeping your life from falling apart while you laughed at me behind my back. I paid for the roof over your head, the gas in your car, and the food on this table. And I'm done." Then I showed them the receipts, bank statements, wire transfers, payment logs, everything. Their faces went pale. This wasn't a breakdown. This was a reckoning. And it's just beginning. More updates to come. Let's just say the kitchen renovation, it's going to be the last thing they enjoy on my dime. This ends now. After my last visit to their house, the same house I've secretly paid for, I went home and got to work. The Florida vacation they were planning, canceled. The $155,000 kitchen renovation. Hope they got a refundable deposit. The big Labor Day barbecue? They might want to scale that one down too. They didn't take it well. They exploded, shouting, denying, threatening. Aunt Karen knocked over her wine glass, staining her brand-new tablecloth blood red. Uncle Kevin screamed about getting lawyers involved. Marcos just kept repeating, "This isn't funny, man," over and over. I stayed seated, kept eating, let them tire themselves out. When the room finally quieted, I stood up and calmly said, "Check your emails tomorrow morning, all of you. Everything will be explained in detail, including the 60-day notice for new payment arrangements." Aunt Karen lunged toward me, grabbing my arm. "You can't do this to us. We're family." I pulled my arm away. Family doesn't call family worthless. Family doesn't exclude family from gatherings. Family doesn't mock someone for being broke while secretly living off their money. Then I turned back one last time at the door. "By the way, that trash car of mine, it's fully paid off, unlike your cars or your house or anything else you own." I left them standing there, screaming, crying, and drove home. Their phones haven't stopped blowing up mine since. Texts, calls, voicemails, everything from threats to begging to fake promises to change. Too late. Everything is prepared. The documents are ready. My lawyer is on standby. 72 hours later, the end game. Monday morning, 9 a.m. Sharp. The emails went out. Every detail, every receipt, every transfer. Every bill I've covered over the past 5 years, itemized. Attached was a formal, legally reviewed notice. All financial support ends in 60 days. I turned off my phone and went for coffee. When I turned it back on 2 hours later, the storm had hit. 47 missed calls, 156 text messages, 13 voicemails, 28 Facebook messages, 16 emails. Aunt Karen was the first to show up at my apartment. Didn't knock, just started pounding on the door like a madwoman. "Lucas, open this door. You can't do this." "To us!" I opened it. She barged in, face streaked with mascara, waving her phone at me. "This is a joke, right? Tell me this is a joke." "No joke," I said calmly. "You have 60 days to arrange new financing. Everything stops after that. We'll be ruined. The mortgage, the cars, everything. How could you do this? To your own family?" I laughed. "Let's talk about family, Aunt Karen. Let's talk about calling me worthless. Let's talk about excluding me from gatherings, mocking my cheap lifestyle, while living off my money." She tried to flip it, instantly bursting into tears and trying to hug me. "We didn't know. We're sorry. We'll change, please." "No, Aunt Karen, you won't. The trust dissolves in 60 days. No more mortgage payments, no more car payments, no more credit cards. You'll have to figure it out like everyone else." Then Uncle Kevin showed up. Apparently she texted him my address. He stormed in, face beet red. "You ungrateful little—" "One more step," I said. "And I call the police. Then the payment stopped today instead of in 60 days. He froze. The reality finally hit him. Then came my cousins. Brock looked stunned. Marcos bounced between begging and threatening. "What about my car?" Marcos whined. "You can't do this. I just quit my job last week to find myself." "Then you better find a job fast," I said. "You've got 60 days to refinance or return it. Not my problem anymore." The next few hours were chaos. Aunt Karen crying on my couch. Uncle Kevin pacing and making calls to his golf club buddies, begging for loans. Marcos freaking out about his car. Brock sitting in stunned silence. Then came one last attempt. Aunt Karen, still sobbing, said, "Your parents would be ashamed of you." The room went dead silent. I walked to my bedroom and came back with a folder. Inside were letters from my parents, written years ago, outlining exactly how the trust should be used. For education, medical emergencies, or true hardship. Never for vacations, golf memberships, or luxury nonsense. "My parents," I said, "taught me the value of hard work. They set up this trust to help family in need, not to fund your lifestyle. They'd be ashamed of you, not me." That broke her. For real this time. She crumpled onto the couch and sobbed. The fallout. It didn't take long. The kitchen renovation company called. The deposit check bounced. The golf club revoked Uncle Kevin's membership for unpaid dues. Marcos is suddenly very interested in job openings. Brock came to me privately, apologized, and asked me to help him create a budget. We actually had a real conversation for the first time in years. But the best part? Remember my parents' old house, the modest one they lived in before they upgraded? I bought it, in cash. I've been fixing it up quietly for months. Yesterday I moved in. It's not flashy, it needs work, but it's mine, fully paid for, no mortgage, no debt. This morning I drove past Aunt Karen's house in my trash Toyota. Workers were out front, removing the granite countertops. Apparently that payment bounced too. Aunt Karen was standing in the driveway, watching. She didn't wave. Their Labor Day barbecue? Canceled. The Florida vacation? Refunded to my account, since it was my card. Their social media? Suddenly, very quiet. The trust dissolves in 58 days. They're scrambling to refinance everything. With their credit scores and income? Good luck. Me? I'm free. I'm not angry anymore, just done. My parents worked too hard for their money to see it thrown away. I'm going to honor their memory now, by living within my means and using what's left to actually help people. Next month, I'm launching a small scholarship fund for local students in need. My parents would have liked that. Oh, and the Toyota? Just had it detailed. Runs perfectly.